Oh, snap. We are back. What's up, fellas, ladies, gents, whoever is out there listening? Thank you again for joining season 2. That's right, year 2026. It feels like it's been a long while. It's been a long time. What an off season. The off season has been, it's been loaded. We're going to get pretty deep into it today, I think. But yeah, it's our first episode back, and I'm super grateful to be coming back for year number 2, season number 2 for me. So to any of you listeners that are returning from last season, thank you. Super grateful to at least have a little bit of an audience. And if there are some new listeners out there, thanks for joining and tagging along. It's going to be fun, I think. I believe that you'll catch on to how much fun we have as we go throughout the season. You'll probably learn quite a bit tonight on how things are going to go on Zip It Up Pod. But man, I'm just really excited to start the season off with this episode. It's just simply going to be talking about the off season. I'm going to go through a bunch of updates and topics from Hendrick Motorsports and NASCAR and talk about anything. Okay. So here's your episode rundown real quick. We got 4 topics today. We're going to start with some personal life updates because I know you're wondering what I've been up to since it's been over 2 months since our last podcast episode. Of course, I've been a busy man, so I'll share a little bit about what I've been doing in the meantime and how I've been enjoying my off season. We're going to touch on some NASCAR stories, some of the big topics to come out of the sport from the past 2 months. And I will share some of the changes to our podcast. No, not a whole lot is going to change, but a few tweaks were made. And I'm excited to share some of those with you. And of course, we're going to wrap this episode up with some Hendrick Motorsports updates and just kind of get you caught up on what's been going on for our favorite team in NASCAR during this busy offseason. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and begin with our drink tonight, which is I do have a sweet tea from Chick-fil-A. Decided to take the kids to Chick-fil-A. It's a Wednesday night, and it just always feels like a Chick-fil-A night when it's Wednesday night. And so we took the kids over there. I made sure to eat a ton of nuggets and grab me a sweet tea to go. And that's what we're sipping on this evening. So we're going to start this season off right with a cheers. But a little bit of a touching topic in terms of what we're going to raise our drinks to. If you're a hardcore NASCAR fan, you already know where I'm probably going with this, but there have been some tragic events to happen to the NASCAR community during the off season. It's been really rough, in fact, for the NASCAR community. And so, I didn't think it'd be right for us to lead off the season without paying some type of a tribute and remembering some very dear souls that were lost during this offseason. So we'll first begin with Michael Annett, mainly known for driving in the Xfinity Series and was actually a JRM driver. So, and we are very fond of our JMM drivers. So that's our favorite O'Reilly team. And so Michael Annett passed, and from my understanding, I don't know all the details, of course. I'm not tied into the sport like a lot of others would be. So, what I have heard is that apparently this was like a bad case of pneumonia that took his life. But what I do know is that Michael Annett was just 39 years old when he passed, and that's way too young. That's only 5 years older than me right now. So, yeah, that was just the start. That was the first noticeable loss that the NASCAR community had. So, obviously, thoughts and prayers to his family and friends, and to those that work closely with him. He was a race car driver, and he is he's someone's hero. And so we're gonna raise our drink to Michael Annett tonight. We're also gonna raise our drink to the Biffles. This is probably like the biggest news that happened over the off season, but a week before Christmas, Greg Biffle and his family and some other close friends were taken from us in a tragic plane accident in North Carolina. And this is just how Biffle traveled. I understand he had a pilot license or used helicopters quite a bit. We know about his efforts during that hurricane last year, in which Biffle probably became a bigger part of like the NASCAR community, I think. He was a great driver. We know him for his 19 Cup Series wins. We know he had a runner-up finish in the Cup Series point standings one year. He could drive the wheels off the thing, but he became just kind of a bigger personality. These past few years, he got kind of hooked up with Cletus McFarland and stole the hearts of NASCAR fans, and was incredibly gracious with his time and efforts when trying to help the Western North Carolina community after that hurricane last year. And so, a lot of people that are big names, whether it be sports or entertainment, whatever it is, celebrities, a lot of times they always, talk a big talk, but Greg Biffle walked the walk, and he backed up his talk. And I was so impressed with him. I didn't care for him much as a driver, to be honest with you. No, he was out there battling against my favorite drivers, but post his racing career, he became very appreciated and someone that we are truly and dearly going to miss. So thoughts and prayers obviously out to those closely affected by the Biff. And then lastly is Denny Hamlin's father, man. Denny Hamlin lost his dad just a couple weeks ago in a house fire. So his mother and father were in this house fire. And that's not when his father passed. Apparently his dad ended up in the hospital in critical condition, but it was the damage from the fire that ultimately did end his life. And, going back to Phoenix a couple months ago, leading up to the championship race, Denny was sharing how emotional and how important it was for him to win this championship, because it was probably going to be the last chance for him to do that, while his dad was still alive. So apparently his dad was probably declining in health. So after seeing the heartbreak from the championship, he came out and did this whole big trial against NASCAR, which we'll get into in a little bit. And then this house fire happens, and it takes the life of his father. And his mother is still currently living, but she's not in the best of shape. That house fire also put her, I believe, in critical condition. But from what I understand, she's made some improvements. So I really hope and pray that she can pull through and see better and brighter days ahead. But I know it's got to be super tough for Denny right now emotionally. So I can't help but hope that he's okay and able to find some type of positivity and peace through this. I know that that's insanely difficult to even fathom right now, but definitely want to lift him up in prayers. And man, I might just become a little bit of a Denny Hamlin fan this year, and that's nothing I ever would have thought I would have said. But just really feel for that guy right now. Just all the emotions that he's going through, not only in his career but his personal life too. Losing parents, or at least losing one, and his other parent, his mom, now doesn't have her house anymore. So just incredibly sad, tragic off season for NASCAR. It hurts, and man, it just that's what we're raising our drinks to tonight. So um, here's to better and brighter days ahead for the NASCAR community. So excuse me for my freaking throat, man. Feel like it's been the entire off season that I've been dealing with no voice, coughing, clearing my throat nonstop. So I don't know if I'll make it through this whole episode tonight, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna tough it out. And it doesn't help that it's like 10 o'clock at night when I'm recording. So man, I just get my voice gets worse throughout the day. I'm no good. Once the sun goes down, I'm like an ogre. You gotta put me away. Like Princess Fiona, man. I'm good when the sun's up, but when the sun goes down, I feel better, but I just appear and sound worse. So that's the version of me you're getting tonight. You're getting Ogre Coz on Zip It Up Pod. That's how we lead off the season. All right. So with that being said, let's get into our topics, because I don't want to keep you super long. but I've also missed you, and I got a lot to share with you. So, my personal life, I know you have all been waiting to hear what I've been up to for the past 2 months, not having recorded an episode and uploaded anything. So, let me begin with as soon as the NASCAR season was over, Kyle Larson wins the championship for Hendrick Motorsports. Your boy celebrated by going and getting some Disney passes. That's right. I live in Orlando, Florida. So, if you're new to my podcast, I don't live anywhere near North Carolina, where Hendrick Motorsports is located, where most of NASCAR is located. I'm in Central Florida and pretty close to Daytona. That's right down the street from me, but also very close to the theme parks. And so we have SeaWorld passes and now we have Disney passes again. We've been off and on with those. If you've ever been to Disney, you know that it costs a lot of money. But we figured, man, we got a 3 and a 6-year-old, and those boys love to go visit the Disney characters. So we just went ahead and splurged, and we did it. That was part of our Christmas to the family. So we've been hitting up Disney quite a bit over the off season. We've had some big holidays. Thanksgiving happened. Gosh, I don't even remember Thanksgiving. That's how long ago that was. Christmas came and gone so fast. I do need to shout something out, though. I don't even know if anybody from this company is going to hear this, but someone living in Orlando might get this recommendation from Zip It Up Pod. One of the things me and my wife did for Christmas was we got each other a little date at the beer spa. And if you don't know what that is, it's exactly what it sounds like. It is a spa where you go into a room with your significant other. There's a hot tub filled with beer, a jetted hot tub, by the way. They do have a sauna, and they have a little hay bed for you to lay in and relax. They got music for you to play. They got a fireplace on the wall. It's a spa where you can go soak in beer, and you have your own tap. So while you're in the room and while you are enjoying the spa, you have unlimited beer. It was incredible. Okay. I don't know if I'd spend the money to do it again, but I will definitely take it as a gift if anyone wants to, you know, get me a voucher to the beer spot in my name. It was amazing. Really enjoyed my time. But yeah, had quite a bit that day and was very bloated afterwards. Not how you want to walk out of the spa. But if you are in Central Florida, go check it out. It's quite the experience. I knew I had to try it. So, been there, done that. And then we had New Year's just recently. The only thing I remember from that day is being sorely disappointed by my Georgia Bulldogs on New Year's evening after we had a big lead. So, yeah, I think we had 21 points at halftime, multiple score lead, and we still lost Ole Miss. So that was rough. And then this past week, keeping up with the football disappointment theme, my Green Bay Packers, we all know what happened to them in the playoffs, was up 21-3 at halftime, another multiple score lead, 21 points in the first half, feeling good. But yeah, so it's been rough. Kind of glad football season's over now because, man, that was tough to swallow. Both of those teams letting me down in games that they had in the bag at the half. So moving on, all this time I've been coaching basketball. Our season started as soon as the podcast was over. As soon as Larson won his championship, I had basketball tryouts that week. And so I've been coaching a middle school basketball team here at a local private school. And in fact, we have a game tomorrow. So right now I'm doing that pretty much 4 or 5 days a week. I've got practice or games. Right now we are 9-1 and we are on a 7-game win streak. And I have got to admit, I've got a pretty darn good basketball team. These boys can play. And in fact, a couple games ago, a referee came over to me and said, in the middle of the game, he said, "You have the best middle school team I've ever seen." So if you are local, come check out my boys because they can play some ball and we can compete with any team. So pretty hyped about that. But that season will be wrapping up soon. First weekend of February is our playoff tournaments. Hopefully we win the championship and we cap off the great season. A little cherry on top. But once that's over, all I got left really is this podcast and then Full Sail. I'm at Full Sail right now, have been for 2.5 years. And I'm in the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting, so I'm getting a bachelor's degree in sportscasting right now online, and I have 2 months remaining in that program. So at the end of February, my education will be done. That program is sealed up, and I will be graduating the first week of March, and I'm very much looking forward to that. In fact, I'm going through all of the graduation stuff right now, just getting, everything ordered, everything sent out that I need, everything finalized. And so that's a fun time too. Looking forward to getting that behind me and getting my demo reel and portfolio sent out, resume, getting that sent out to future employers. Exciting time. But also, last thing, I wanted to share some of the events that I've been to, that I've participated in over the break, the off season, if you will. So back in November, we went to the Tour of Destruction. And if you haven't been to a Tour of Destruction, you got to go to one of their stops. They go to the local short tracks and they just tear up a bunch of cars, man. It's a good time. In fact, I brought one of my best friends and his boy this year, and they're already looking forward to April when it returns. So fun time watching those cars beat each other up on the track. A couple weeks ago, took the boys to WWE Raw and got to see the Usos win their titles back that night. Gosh, that's really the only highlight I can remember from that night. Really, I was watching my kids the whole time, reacting to the wrestling. So that's always fun. This past weekend, we went to Monster Jam, which is like the Super Bowl for my kids. They are obsessed with Monster Jam. So anytime it comes to town, it's like a holiday around here. You got to make sure you have time off of work and that you can go spend the entire day doing all the pre-show festivities. And it's just, yeah, it's unbelievable seeing their eyes light up when those trucks come through the tunnel. And then events that are coming up. I wanted to share this with you all. So, and just in case anybody's out and about, we can link up. This coming weekend is the Roar Before the 24. So we'll be at Daytona International Speedway, catching some of the testing and practice sessions for the Rolex 24, which is happening the following weekend. I don't know for sure if I'll be at the Rolex 24 or not. Had some other plans for that weekend, but it looks like they might fall through. So if I get a chance to go over to the Rolex 24, I've never seen it in person, but I love staying up and watching it all night, Saturday night and into Sunday morning. Quite the spectacle to see on TV. So I would love to go see it in person. We'll just have to see if the circumstances align for that to happen. After that, I will go on a cruise with a couple buddies. I got a buddy getting married here in 2026. So we're going to go kind of do like a miniature bachelor weekend on a cruise ship. But that's the last weekend of January. And then, February 15th, I will be at the Daytona 500. I got my tickets and looking forward to that one. It is my favorite event of the year. It's my Super Bowl. It's the Great American Race, man. It's the show that I just cannot miss. And looking forward to that. That's obviously going to be a full week. So I'm sure we'll be at the duels on Thursday night. We'll probably hang around town on Friday and Saturday and just kind of hit up some of the meet and greets and the driver appearances that happen, in the Daytona Beach area. But February 15th, you'll see me one place, and that's in the grandstands. Pit road entrance, man, coming out of turn 4. That's where all the excitement happens. And I'll be there ready to go. So those are some updates for me. Now let's get into some NASCAR updates, okay? Beginning with the trial. This was happening back early in December. And I'm sure most of you, if you're listening to my podcast, I am sure you probably know what was going on. But this was pretty much like Michael Jordan versus NASCAR, okay? There's a lot more ins and outs to that, but ended up being like 23-11 in Front Row Motorsports suing NASCAR. And man, the teardown had some great coverage during that time. Every day after the trial ended, Jeff Gluck and Jordan Bianchi went back to their hotel room and recorded podcasts. And I mean, each of those episodes had to be an hour and a half long, but it was really interesting to listen to just to keep up to date with what was happening at the trial, which, we weren't able to watch and be a part of, but those 2 guys were in the room, and so they were able to give really great coverage, and, so very interesting listening to all of those episodes. It felt like Christmas morning. Every day was a new day and a new pod to listen to. I loved it. I was very entertained, and, that last day, it wasn't the last day of the trial, but it ended up being the last day of the trial because both sides came to a settlement, and when I heard that they came to a settlement, I was, like, a little bit bummed that I wasn't gonna have any more of their coverage to listen to on the teardown. So, yeah, they did a great job covering that. But like I said, both sides did come to a settlement. Really, this was a win for 2311 and Front Row Motorsports. NASCAR ends up losing in all this pretty much. At least they didn't get what they wanted out of it. So, kudos to both sides, though, for agreeing on a settlement here. One of the big pieces of the fallout from this is just last week, Steve Phelps stepped down from his position with NASCAR. So I believe Steve Phelps was the commissioner and just said some harsh things and didn't really give NASCAR the best look. And so he was someone that had to bite the bullet as part of the fallout from this case. So anyway, the other big thing in NASCAR happened earlier this week, which we are super excited about, and that is that NASCAR has a new points format, and I'm very excited about this. So the chase is back. We're going back several years, couple decades, to when we had the 10-race chase, and that is now coming back. Okay, 36-race season. The first 26 races are going to determine our playoffs. Okay. The last 10 races are the playoffs. Very much looking forward to that. Again, I'm not going to get into those details. You're a NASCAR fan. You already probably have some opinions on this. But I just want to say I'm excited because the one race for a champion was just not a large enough sample size. But 10 races is. And I'm glad it's not 36 races because I like what playoffs brings. I like the drama that comes with playoffs. I think it's completely fair to spend the majority, 26 races of your season, determining playoff seeding and then resetting and saying, all right, last 10 races, you guys are in the running for the championship. Go out there and win it. And now they don't really reset points to some degree. Again, there's a whole structure. The guy that is first, he'll have like a 100-point lead on the guy that's 16th. And but anyway, those are details for another day. What I did want to point out is that we don't have one race for a championship anymore. We have 10. And that's exciting to me. However, going forward, I'm hoping that this means that some of those tracks are going to rotate. Like I don't think it should be the same 10 tracks every single year being in the playoffs. I think we need to get 2 or 3 new tracks into the mix every year and keep some type of rotation. Hopefully they can figure that out. They got schedule makers out there that are smart enough to make that happen. Nothing against Jimmy Johnson. He's a Hendrick Motorsports and NASCAR legend. But he won a bunch of his championships because it was pretty much the same layout every year, the same chase, and he could kill those 10 tracks like it was nothing. So I just want to see a little variety, a little mixture year to year when we get into this new chase format. The other thing I want to point out is that now it's not win and you're into the playoffs. Points matter. From race 1 to race 26, you need to be in the top 16 in points. Now, if you win a lot, that's great because there's more points for that now. I'm going to hit on that in just a second. But winning doesn't automatically get you in. Now, after we have those 26 races, the 16 drivers were into the chase playoffs. Again, it's only points that gets you to the end. Okay. There's no 3 race and then a cutoff. It's all 16 drivers race against each other for 10 races, and whoever collects the most points wins the championship. I think that's a very deserved system. And especially because now are worth a little bit more value. Their points have increased for wins. We're going from 40 points to 55. And now if we go back to last year on our pod, I don't know where it is. It's in one of our lost episodes. I'd have to do some big time research, but I did say one of the things I want NASCAR to change with their playoffs is that I want them to increase the value of a win. And that's exactly what they did. I also said that on the Checkered Chat. This is a quick plug for the Checkered Chat. Justin and Blake, shout out to both of you for having an off-season series. For those of you that don't follow or listen to the Checkered Chat, go to their podcast as soon as you're done listening to this one. Listen to some of their episodes from the off-season. They didn't take any time off. They kept producing and kicking out content during the off season. And so they did a series of just NASCAR content creators. And so I was one that they invited on recently. And if you go back and listen to my episode with the Checkered Chat, I actually said, like, one of the things I want NASCAR to do is to increase the value of a win. And sure enough, I don't know if NASCAR was listening to me, but they did increase the point value of a win. So I'm extremely happy about that. It keeps winning the most important thing that these drivers can do to increase their points. So very pleased with that. And again, shout out to Checkered Chat. A great way to also spend the off season was listening to other content creators come on, and really the episodes were just about the content creators. So when I went on, they asked me a ton of questions, just really got to know me and really promote my brand along with theirs, and really enjoyed that. So super grateful for them, the friendship that we've made over there, the partnership. I'm sure they'll pop in a few times over here this season, and love doing collaborations with them. So go give them some love on social media and wherever you listen to podcasts. Can't shout them out enough. But yeah, points are worth more. Okay, so here's the next topic I want to touch on real quick with the new points format or playoff format. So 16 drivers are making the playoffs, right? Some people are saying that's too many. And I think I would fall into that category as well. I do think 16 is quite a bit, but I'm good with it because I don't want NASCAR to overdo the changes. I don't want them to make too many changes up front. This is something that we can tweak later if we need to, and we'll figure that out after a few runs, a few years of the chase. We'll figure out if 16 is a fair number or not. I can make a case for it being completely fine. In fact, when I was listening to the Teardown a couple days ago, talking about the new chase format, they were saying, like, NFL, I think, allows 40 to 44% of its teams to make their playoffs. And that's right around the number that NASCAR is allowing into their playoffs. So it is kind of equivalent to other professional leagues. And because it's not a win in advance thing, there's no cutoffs. Now, whoever is in 16th or 15th and we think shouldn't be in the playoffs, they're going to be a non-factor anyway, right? However, if they're able to squeak into the playoffs and then make an incredible, miraculous run, I promise you they're going to earn it. So I think it's a great number to start with right now. Again, that was a number that didn't need to be changed. So I'm good with not touching that right now and just letting it be, letting it go. This is going to be kind of a trial and error thing. We'll figure it out as we get more reps and more years under this new format. And that leads me to my last question about the new chase format. Is Joey Logano ever going to win another championship? Will he ever win another title? Because I don't think he will. I don't think he can point race. He can win big races, but I think he's stuck. And I'm excited about that. I feel like I just had a Theo Vaughn moment right there. I wasn't planning on bringing that out. But anywho, all right, so let me touch on a few things that are changing with the pod. Not many to begin with, but you will notice that our logo has been updated. and we refreshed our branding a little bit. I'm in love with the logo. I got to be honest with you. I love what we did to it. Got it sitting right behind me. My wife got me this neon sign for Christmas, and I don't think it's looking exquisite right now. I'm going to figure this out as well. I got to figure out my lighting in the room and what mode to put that on. Right now, I got it like 70% lit. You should see it when it's 100. It's bright. So, I'll figure out how to make that look good. I'm new to this, y'all. I'm amateur. But, she also got me this for Christmas. For the audio listeners, I'm sorry you cannot see any of my cool new Christmas gifts. You'll have to go watch the recording on YouTube, I guess. But yeah, I got me a little Zen can, little pouch can with the Zip It Up logo on it. Nobody else in the world has one of these right now. I'm filled right now with the lip pillows. I'm going to put one in right now too. So cheers. Excuse me. Just burped on my pod. Anywho, yeah, I really love the new logo. The colors that go with it, they pop, they scream Hendrick Motorsports, they scream Jeff Gordon. And I mean, he's the guy. He's the one that got me into the sport. And so, yeah, that's where my love for Hendrick Motorsports began, was with that 24 car. And that's what this logo is pretty much doing. We do also now have a hashtag, or at least a slogan for the podcast, that has slowly been hitting our socials. You'll notice at different places, but our hashtag is Winners Listen Here. And that's because we're coming off of a championship season. And if you look at the hashtag, I made a logo for it. It looks really neat because there are 2 numbers embedded in the hashtag. The number 15, 15, and it's in bright ruby red colors. You can't miss it. And that is because Hendrick Motorsports got them 15 championships now. Thank you to Kyle Larson. So, actually, Cliff Daniels. No, thank you to William Byron for bringing out that late caution. Boy, we could just thank everybody at that organization. They're great, legendary Hall of Fame guys over there, up and down the rosters, all the staffers. That's why we love this team. So, if you want to listen to winners, if you want to listen to a podcast with the best drivers and we root for the best teams, this is where you're coming. Winners listen here. Love that slogan. With that being said, I do have one last change to the pod that I'm not going to announce. You're going to have to come back. It's going to be a special surprise that you'll first learn about after our first race win. Okay? And really, it's not that big of a thing, but after every race that we win this year, we're going to start the episodes off a little bit differently than usual. And so I'm just kind of stashing that in my back pocket for now. Already got it all planned out, and it's been produced, and it's ready to go. But we got to win a race first to get your first crack at it. Yeah, that will be after every race win. You'll have to come to the podcast to know exactly what I'm talking about. But I'm kind of excited for it. It's a little different, and it fits my fancy, so I hope it fits yours. Okay? Last topic that we are going to cover is we're going to talk just some Hendrick Motorsports updates. There's not a whole lot to share with you, but some very important news to share with you. So let's first start with probably the first thing that was announced this offseason was Corey Day is now going to be driving full-time in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series for Hendrick Motorsports, and he'll be the number 17 Chevy. Corey was driving that car part-time last year. And, we've had this part-time program in the Xfinity. It's now O'Reilly Series. But it was part-time last year. Corey did some of it, and then our Cup drivers did some of it as well. For 2026, in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, Corey Day will be the only driver in the number 17 car on Saturdays, and he'll be a full-time driver for Hendrick Motorsports. Does that put one of our drivers on the hot seat? Maybe. Obviously, Bowman's probably on the hottest seat. Okay, if we're all going to be honest, the other 3 feel pretty safely secure where they're at. But Bowman is going to have to step up his performance this year in order to keep his ride. But also, Corey Day's going to have to prove it. Right now, I don't think he's ready to step into a Cup ride next year. He's going to have to show some incredible gains this year. He's going to have to contend for a playoff spot in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and I think he's going to have to win a couple races for us to even consider him taking over possibly Bowman's ride. Bowman has proven that he can win races. He doesn't win as many as we would like him to. He doesn't contend for as many as we would like him to. He's nowhere near the other three guys in the organization at the Cup level. But he's proven, and he has had some not so great rides during his Cup career. But when he got over to HMS, he's proven that he can drive a car. And he's very good at driving cars. I'm talking about all kinds of styles of racing too. He's not just a one-trick pony. Alex Bowman can do a lot behind the wheel. And so I'm just hoping this year he can step up his performance a little bit and hopefully lock in his ride for much further down the line. But right now he's currently in the hottest seat at Hendrick Motorsports. So we'll see what develops there. Next, we did get a lot of paint scheme releases this year already during the offseason. We're getting some sneak peeks at what's going to be hitting the track. And so I just wanted to go over a few notes with y'all. I'm not going to touch on every paint scheme. If you want to see them, you can go find them on the internet. I'm sure they're on JSki right now. But also, if you go over to HendrickMotorsports.com, you can find every single diecast that is already available for pre-order, and you can find those paint schemes. And, they keep releasing more and more as the offseason goes on. So let's start with Larson. First of all, his paint schemes that we've seen so far for 2026 are exactly what you would expect. So nothing wows us yet with his new looks. But I will say, he's got a sharp-looking, red-dressed Valvoline machine this year, kind of just an upgrade from what he had in previous seasons. So that's probably the only one to look forward to from the Larson camp. Next, Chase Elliott does have a new Napa scheme. He gets a new one every year, and they've made some subtle tweaks in the past. This year, I like the tweak that they made. They added some more white back to the car, back to the body, especially on the side of it. The white is a good addition, so I have no complaints there. He also has a new Prime look. Okay, Amazon Prime is back on his car. I think they're doing like 3 races, and it's like the 3 races leading up to the bracket again, or maybe it's leading up to when the races are on Prime. That car looks good. There's more black in it this year, so it's more black and blue, as opposed to last year was just white and blue. So I think it goes pretty hard. And then William Byron. If you are a fan of William Byron, I hope you love red, white, and blue, because that's like his colors now. He has taken over America. I got to be honest with you. I'm a huge fan of the USA, and I love some patriotic paint schemes. But I think they're overdoing it with all these William Byron schemes. I mean, really, those are the only 3 colors I think I've seen on his cars. They're either red, white, or blue, or a mixture of all of them, or just a combination of 2 of them. But there's no more yellow in his schemes. I don't think there's any black in his schemes. I mean, it's just red, white, and blue. The new Raptor scheme is the red, white, and blue flames. It looks like something that should only be raced on July 4th or the Coke 600 weekend. Like, here's my gripe. Because I love America and I love those colors. But now it kind of takes away from the special patriotic schemes. So just not super happy to see all his schemes kind of fall into those colors. I'm used to the 24 car having multicolors on them and being some of the best paint schemes out there. And I think some of these cars are going to look good, but they all have just those 3 colors. So also the HP scheme looks awful. It's very plain. It's very bland. It's very not 20. So, I thought last year's was decent. The HP scheme from 2025, it was all right. This one's just bad. It's just a white car with barely any blue on it. So, anywho, let's move on. Lastly is Alex Bowman. I think I've only seen one car release from him, just his new Ally primary color scheme. This one's the best one, though. This is the best Ally scheme that I've seen of all time, like going back to when Jimmy was driving for Ally. And I think it's the best car that's been released so far from the Hendrick Motorsports camp. I am very excited about this car. In fact, as soon as I saw the paint scheme release and I saw that he had some merch being released with it, I went and ordered some merch. So actually, yeah, I got it right here. If you're watching the pod, here's one of the new hats. I made sure both myself and my wife got the new shirt. So I'll rock that soon. That is a pretty car, though. And I cannot wait to see it on the track. Here's the thing with paint schemes. They can look good. They can look bad when you see them on the computer or on your phone. But you truly don't know how great of a paint scheme it's going to be until you see it on the track. And I just have a really good feeling about that one. I plan on seeing him win the pole for the Daytona 500, and I think it's going to lead everybody to green. They're going to get that picture. You know, the field is 2x2 coming to the line to take the green to start the season off, and that thing's going to look hot. All right. That's all I'm going to say about paint schemes. The last thing I want to share with you was just announced a few days ago. Atrium Health and Hendrick Motorsports launch a partnership this week. So there's going to be a new 35,000 square foot facility, and it's going to be called the Atrium Health Motorsports Athletic Center. This will be opening later in January on the Hendrick Motorsports campus in Concord, North Carolina. So this new facility, very large, it's going to include, listen to this, it's going to include a high-performance gym. It's going to have modern locker rooms. We'll have team operations center for race day operations. It's going to have a nutrition area. We'll have athletic meeting and film rooms. It'll have dedicated spaces for physical therapy, hydrotherapy, and recovery. It will have sports science research area, and it will also have a closed loop pit stop practice circuit that will accommodate 2 teams at a time. So it sounds incredible. Sounds like it'll be state of the art. I believe that this will probably set a precedent going forward for other top major motorsports teams. And so I would imagine that if Gibbs and Penske and them if they don't have a facility like this yet, they probably will very soon. It just seems like Hendrick Motorsports is the first ones. They're like the ones that take that next step, and then everybody follows along, and everybody is chasing us. So if they want to keep up, we're now setting a precedent and having a huge facility dedicated to the health of not only our drivers and our teams, but the pit crew guys, the staff members at Hendrick Motorsports, and it's going to be employed by Atrium Health employees. So I would imagine it would be hard for the public to get in and see this facility, but it sounds really neat. And if we are ever able to get a sneak peek of it, I'd imagine our socks will be blown off. So pretty cool for those guys and gals that work for Hendrick Motorsports up there in North Carolina. And that's all I really wanted to share with you tonight. Just want to get back into it. This is our first episode for the 2026 season, and I will release every week going forward. I will release new episodes. I already have ideas for next week's episode that I've started some research for, and I've actually had some friends. Can tell this is going to have to wrap up soon, but I've reached out to some friends to help me promote our episode for next week. So I'm very excited to get that one out there and released on the airwaves. I hope you will tune in and not only listen along, but I hope you'll share it with others as well. It's an interesting topic, and it's one that's going to boost the brand of not only Zip It Up Pod, but especially Hendrick Motorsports, okay? So if you know any old fans that love these drivers, send them our way and get them listening to the pod. If you know any new fans to NASCAR that might be looking for some drivers, well, next week's episode will be very crucial to them finding a new driver to root for. But after that, we're going to get into a season preview. We'll get into the Daytona 500 preview very soon, within the next month. We got the Clash coming up pretty soon. And so from here, from this episode going forward, we ain't stopping until November. It's going to be a long year, but I'm kind of rejuvenated. Okay, these past 2 months have given me a new sense of energy, and I'm ready to get this season underway. Like I said, we got the refreshed logo and branding ready. We have a championship to defend, and man, it's going to be fun. There's just a new feeling in the air. Again, my heart goes out to all the folks that were closely affected by the tragedies that have happened just in the past couple months in NASCAR. But tomorrow is a new day, and it's a brighter day, I promise you. This is going to be a fun season, and I am so glad that you are tagging along and grateful that you come to listen to the podcast every week. So with that, that's it. Episode 1 down, episode 2 next week. All right. Y'all have a good week. Y'all stay safe, and I'll see you soon.